Anyways, so cookies and sessions, right? What is a cookie and what is a session? Anybody? I can just, help you out here. There we go. There we go. There we go.
Are they global?
Are they global?
Or their browser?
Or the browser.
The person who's been given a session.
Been given a session. Are they global in the browser that's been given a session?
Yes.
Okay, great. I have no idea what that means. And so the reason I do that, it's not at all to, I guess, try to make you feel bad. What it is it's designed to feel a little bit uncomfortable because I need you to formulate questions and understand what it is that you're asking, right? So, what are you asking?
We're asking what are sessions, right?
Mm-hmm. What are cookies and what are sessions? You don't have to get the answer right. Does not really matter. It's just, this is my time for you to tell me what you think it is. And I find it valuable because, as an instructor, if you do not have assumptions and I simply feed you information, you will not retain it. If you have an idea of what it is, and then I confirm that idea, that knowledge is better retained. If you have an idea and it's slightly off, or just off entirely, you know now how to course correct. So it's good to have assumptions, and it's good to try to participate. It's called prediction, right? So, Raj, what's up?
So like a session, I'm envisioning like a period of time that you're on our website and then navigating through the website. So a cookie is a piece of data that sticks around for that time frame.
Okay. So a session belongs to what? Okay. Very fair. Session belongs to a user. All right. Any other idea of a session and or a cookie?
So they usually consist of a hash of values and a session ID, usually about 32 characters for you to identify the hash. Just general,
Yeah. Just pull that out from your head. Cool. Yeah. You want to try?
It's a small data file that's sent back from the server in their response, and it's attached to the header of that response. And it allows,
No, I'm just saying yes. That's correct so far. Because sometimes I could tell when you trail off, you're like looking for confirmation. So far, so good. Yeah.
and it allows, and then the server is able to basically get that information back that's been stored in that header.
Okay. No worries. So, any other assumptions? Sure.
Well, for a cookie, it's when your application uses to store and maintain information.
Sure. It'll do that. So, what do we know about the flash hash? Right. We've talked about something, right? A concept known as a stateless protocol, right? HTTP. It's generally, right, in vague terms, a stateless protocol. So what does that mean? Making this really easy for me. Yes, sir.
Doesn't say information.
Yes, right? What happens in the request stays in the request, right? Vega style. So if I have data that I want to pass on to the next request, can I do so in the realm of what you know right now? Right? A little bit, right, with the flash hash. The flash hash allows you to keep data pass it on to the next request for one extra request. And that's all it does. Wouldn't it be nice if we could have something that could persist every single request, right? Something like a user being logged in. Every time I navigate to a different website, right? Like let's just say I was on GitHub, right? I'm logged in currently on GitHub, right? If I were to go to pull requests and click this, if there was no state management, if there was no ability to retain data from the last request, it would ask me to log in again. And then it would show me this data. And then I'm like, hey, great, let me check out the issues. It would then ask me to log in again and then show me the issues. Because it doesn't know about information from the last request. That's a little bit frustrating, right? What about shopping carts? You know, you're on LL Bean, you're on H&M, you're on Uniqlo, you're on Zara. Sorry, it's a lot of Asian stores. It's where I shop, apparently. All right, and I wanted to add something to my cart. Do I want to add that item to my cart every single request I make? No, I need this data to persist, right? I need like the item ID number to go from request to request, right? And so here we'll introduce sessions and cookies. Here's the differentiator. Sessions, right, is just a hash, very similar to Flash, and it's embedded inside the cookie, right? It's baked right in. Look at this. Oop, look at this. Look at this one. Cookies, right? What that means is Rails will hold on to a little bit of data, and it will put that data, like your session data, inside of a cookie. So if session's just a hash, I can easily just make key value pairs within this in the same way that I did with Flash. So do you remember, let's see, in my Nachos controller, right? I can just do something like Flash with the key of anything I want is equal to some value, right? Because Flash is just a hash that goes for one extra request. In the same way, session will be some key, any key I want, and I can put any value I want. The difference between session and Flash is that it will get sent in the cookie, and if you remember anything from the pre-work, it's a long time ago, I know, ancient history, the cookie is passed every single request. So if the cookie is passed every single request, and the session is this tiny bit of data, this hash that I'm passing back and forth, do I have access to this session for every single request? Yes, right? It's just a little bit of cookie, right? Session's baked right in. Think of it like a chocolate chip, and then you just pass that cookie around back and forth every request. That chocolate chip stays with me every single time. Cool? It's like a terrible analogy, but hopefully it made sense. Sorry. Cool? So what can we do with this data, right? What can we do with this data? Don't worry, I have like a very thorough README thanks to the real Chrome boy, Andrew Cohn, right? Everything that we go over, I'm going to send you a very comprehensive student-facing README that's essentially going to go over everything that we do today. So don't necessarily worry too much about the code, just about the concepts and the flow and how everything connects. Is that cool? Cool. So, okay, I don't need this. Let's take a look at what's going on so far in our app. Let's go to Nacho Town. Nacho Town. Look at this Guy Fieri icon. Ridiculous. Huh? It is not. Yeah, you're right. It's Nacho Town. So here we have, right? What route is this? /nachos? What RESTful route is this? It's index, right? So in my index, I'm showing a menu. I have some sort of cart in here. And I want to be able to add items to my cart, right? I have all of these painfully seeded items, right? Cool, let's take a look at this. Trash can nachos. Trash can nachos. Nachos literally made in a garbage can in the alleyway behind the restaurant. Very good, okay? Nobody thought that was funny? Nice, nice. Just
There's a poll that works.
just gonna stop putting time in seed data. You can actually you clone this when I put the code up, and you'll see what the rest of these are. Danger dogs, nachos smothered in sad hot dogs. Nice, nice, cool. So, what do we want to do? First thing is, right? What is the normal functionality of like a cart? I hit some button, right? Some add to cart button, and then all of a sudden, my cart now has this like trash can nachos added to it, right? That's the functionality I'm looking for. So the first thing we should do is we should probably get this button working, right? What happens when I click this button? Where would it or should it go? And if you have no idea, where can I look? Documentation. No, I'd inspect it, right? So let's do that. I mean this particular button, right? So I'm just gonna look right here. And I'm gonna see that this button is actually like a little sneaky form. And what it's doing is it's posting to /nachos, right? That's what it's doing right now. All right, in case you couldn't see it, it's posting, post, right, to /nachos. Cool? So if I click it, where should it go? What is the next page? What route is this next page? It'll go to post to /nachos. If I post to /nachos, where am I hitting? What RESTful route am I hitting? Okay, just one more time. It's a post to /nachos, right? Where does the RESTful route say it should go? Who says show? Okay, what about new? Okay, what about create? What about create? Nice, it goes to create, right? RESTful routing. Thank you, very good. Good job, class. So let me click this button and I will see, oh snap, just kidding. No route matches post nachos. Cool. So what should I do? What does this tell me I need to do? I need to look in what? What do I need to look at? What could I possibly need? Right? I do this zoom in ridiculousness because error messages are your friend, right? When you see it, don't freak out. I see it all the time. It's like, oh snap, it doesn't work. And then you panic, right? Like, no, don't worry. Don't worry. It's cool. So I need to change the route up, right? Let's think about this a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm in routes. Okay? I only have an index and show so far, right? Just remember, the syntax for index and show looks exactly like this. So, when I'm doing this like button, do I want to create a new nacho? Who says yes, create a new nacho? That's weird, right? Like I shouldn't be making a new nacho. So what should I be doing? I should be like adding it to a cart, right? That makes sense to me. When I click this button, I want to add it to a cart. So the beautiful thing about Rails is this custom route is exactly that. It's custom. I can do whatever I want. I could do a get, right? I could do a post. I can do a delete. If I'm adding something to a cart, would you say that's more of like a new, more of like an edit action, more of like a put, patch, delete? What would I use? What HTTP verb makes sense to make these changes or add something to my cart? Remember, the cart can be modified. I should be able to, at some point, remove and add at will to this cart. What would you describe this action as? Like a patch, right? The reason I'm writing this code is because I need to know why I'm writing it. I'm not just going to guess. I need to be a little bit more methodical. So I think it's a patch because I need to edit this cart, right? I'm probably going to be adding some things to it, maybe removing some things. But this cart object, right, is going to get a patch request. Does that make sense? Yeah?
So we can other ways, the cart's always there, so it was already, you know, close to the cookies already.
Yeah, we'll have to like make it, right? But this is just like the routing so far, right? I'm trying to figure out where this button should route to, and then I'm gonna like create the cart and do all this other stuff. But I'm trying to like get you to start thinking about like why I'm writing some code and why it would make sense. Because as you've probably realized, once you start doing Rails new, once you start building your own project, there's no learn, there's no RSpec, there's no tests. It's like, I need to hit this route because that makes sense to me, right? Like that's the route I need to go to because of something. Outside of RESTful routing, once you start doing your custom routes, you'll need to be able to decide why and where you're going, right? So in this cart, right, where would I want to go? A patch to where? If you were to just make this up in your head for a cart. I mean, probably cart, right? Like it sounds like nebulous and like ridiculous, but it's like, cool, I'm just writing this code. I'm just gonna figure out what I needed to do. I'm just gonna make a patch because I'm gonna edit it, right? Mega bless. And like, what's the route that would make sense? Well, I'm gonna edit this cart, so for now, /cart, cool. What's it going to go to? What controller should this go to? All right, well, let's think about it. Which controllers do this is like, I'm sorry, this is nonsense. We have to make a controller, all right? Don't worry about this. This is like a extra code. I'm probably gonna have some sort of cart controller, all right, that I'm gonna make. And in this cart controller, what method do I wanna hit if I'm doing this? Is it edit? What is edit again? Edit shows me the form, right? So what should I be going to? Update. Cool. Do I want a helper method here? For now, it just makes sense. Something like add nacho to cart, something like that. That way I know that this helper method is very clear. Whenever I redirect to add nacho to cart, I know what that's doing. Right? I'm going to be very explicit in what it is that I name it. Cool? So far so good, right? Now, as we alluded to, I'm going to hit this route, probably in this cart controller. How do I get this cart controller? How would I be able to create a cart controller with Rails? How would I be able to generate some sort of cart controller? Okay, cool. And what is it going to be? Carts, right? Because the controller is singular or plural? Plural. So, let's see what happens. I hope I didn't break it because I like really messed with this code earlier. Cool. So now I have a cart controller, right? Let's take a look. Boom. I have a carts controller. And what method did I say I should have in here? According to my routes, I told it that I should have a method called update. So, pretty simple so far, yeah? I mean, like why I name something and how I'm going to build it out. So, what should be in here? Well, before we do anything, let's see if I can even hit this controller action, right, with this. So if I know that I'm doing a patch to /cart, how can I get that button to go to patch /cart? Where do I want to go? Right? The index page? Go with that? Cool. So I see something like this, right? This button 2 must be the add to cart get button working, which corresponds directly with this button. Yeah? But remember, this button 2 is actually like a little sneaky form. So let's get this out of here. Remember, the first argument is like what gets displayed. What's the second argument? I think it's the path, right? It's the URL, the URL, right? The path. The path to slash cart. Do I want to hard code this, or do I have like a cool helper method that I remember writing? Something difficult to remember. Very difficult to remember, right? It's tough. So, what is this going to default to? What does this form default to?
Yeah.
Post. How can I change what comes up? Okay, so method, what? Like this? Cool. What does this look like to you? In terms of like objects, right? This looks like a hash. It's a key of method pointing to some sort of symbol patch, right? So I can just probably wrap it up in like this. Just wrap it up, B. Wrap it up. Boom. Cool. Any questions?
Is that necessary?
Not right now, but I just wanted to show you what this all looks like. In the same way that button 2 is what in Ruby? It's a method. So these must be the arguments. So I can probably wrap this whole thing. All right? I'm just trying to show you what everything is so that the syntax makes a little bit more sense and less about perfect memorization. Right? Like this is an object. These are the arguments that are going in this, right? Because this is just a method called button2, which is going to build a form for me that needs X amount of arguments, right? I'm going to tell it what to show, where to go, and what verb to use. That's all. Cool?
So this is a case of taking multiple hashes. You want to wrap them up.
In multiple hashes, right? Like, I don't know, hash 1. I'm sorry, key 2. Whoop. I can do key 2 and like value 2, something like that. If I really wanted to, right? I can just like stringify it. But is button 2 going to recognize what key 2 value 2 is? Probably not, right? So I can't add custom necessarily. It just takes in a set of options. That make sense? So let's see what the docs say about it. Ready? Rails, button 2. I can see this. This button 2 does the name, the options, HTML options. So it looks like I could send some sort of symbol. I could send params through, interestingly. So before we get any further, all right, let's just test this button, see if I'm even hitting what I need to hit. Yeah? Cool. So, boop, boop, boop. Boop. Oh, Nacho Town. Here we go. Just kidding, I killed the server. Let's go to Flavor Town. Are you guys tired? Is that what's going on? It doesn't like it when you like space out these things too far. Cool. All right. So if I hit add to cart, what should I expect to happen? Who thinks I should hit the buy bug? Okay. Thank you. Ridiculous. Oh, cart controller. Ugh. Who are my routes? Oh, carts. Carts. Oof, embarrassing. Cool, cool, cool. Little refresh action. That's a cart. Cool. So now it's hanging, right? Did you see what I did? Like what I fixed? I just like had a little boo-boo, little typo. Cool. Hmm.
Is the plural and singular like is that convention or is that like how we have? Would it break if it wasn't properly pluralized?
Not that it would break, it's just that's like the convention so that you understand RESTful routing. Because someone else is going to assume that there's a pluralization there. Yeah? Cool. So now I'm in this update, right? What normally comes through on update that I need? right? More importantly, what was that? Someone said it. Some mysterious angel said it. What comes through? Cool. So I have some sort of method, a controller, action update, some authenticity token. All right, cool. Man, what do I really need though here? What would be really great for me to have here in my params, in this update to my cart? Like the nacho object, maybe just the ID, maybe the nacho name. That would be really nice to have right here, right? Because then in my update, I can probably set it to something. So let's see how we can possibly get it in there. So in my index, in my method, right? I looked real quick at the docs. It says that I can send params over. In my params, what do I want to send? Params is a key. I can make a nested hash. And I can send in what? What do I want the key for this to come out as? Like a nacho ID that I point to. Remember, I am in this iteration. So what do I have access to? Nacho. So this nacho ID key, I want it to be that nacho.id. So far, so good. Let's see if that even came through. So, I'll continue action. Refresh. I just want to hit this one more time. Now I want to check my params. Can you see, is this like big enough or no? Is it fine? This is okay? This size? Okay. I look like Cookie Monster. I'm seeing nacho ID with the params of that nacho ID come through. Does that make sense? I can probably also send, all right, comma, nacho name as what? What object is this? Just nacho name, dot name, all right? Because I'm calling dot name on the nacho object. That's what I'm passing through as the nacho name. So what should I see in params when I check it again? Right? Like nacho name, like trash can nachos, something like that. Come through on my params. Who can follow that so far? Cool. All right. So let me just continue this real quick. Cool. So when I hit add to cart, I can now see in my params nacho ID and nacho name trash can nachos. So far, so good. Cool. Nice. What did I say Flash was? It's just like a hash, right? And I can like add keys to it. I can do something like Flash. I can do like message instead of error, because it's just whatever key I want. And I can do something like cool, man. Cool. And so now if I check Flash, it has some sort of message of cool. What did I say session was? Yeah? It's like a hash-like object. Yo, it's huge. It's huge. Huge. Right? What's in there, right? Probably like your session token, right? A lot of things get put in here, and these get what? Encrypted, so that no one can kind of like intercept your session. So in the same way, so like look, ready? Request parameters, patch. What does this look like to you? Right, so my params are coming through in my session too. So I can do session, right, of a key of dolphin, and what should I get back? If there are no dolphin keys in session, what should I get back? Who says nil? Nil is correct, right? But if I were to do session with the key of dolphin, right, is equal to Florida man, now I can return session with the key of dolphin, and what should I get? Florida, right? Just a regular old hash-like object. So if I wanted my nachos to persist, and this nacho name, maybe this nacho ID, could I do something, right, like this? Nacho IDs equals to, what else do I have access to again that came through? Params. What? Nacho ID. So if I were to see this, I would see 1. So far, so good? Okay. Well, let's take a look here. In my code, sorry. In my carts controller, I can simply do what? I can assign my session with the key of nacho ID equals to params nacho ID. So far, so good? All right. This would allow me to keep this session that gets passed back and forth in my update, right? And then also, I could probably do something like flash message, and that is like what? Cool. Added what? I probably want some sweet string interpolation. I can do what? Params nacho name to cart. Right? Because I have both the ID and the name coming through my params. So in my flash message, what should I see? I said I added like trash can nachos to the cart, right? So in order to see this, I'm probably going to check to see if what? Right? If flash message. What? What do I want to do? Oops. Then what? Just flash message, right? So let's take a look. Let's see if that worked. Okay, stuck in the by bug. Cool. Will that work? Will I see anything here? Why? I need to send it back to what? To what? Just the index here? Is that going to work? Do I have an index for my carts controller? What? Nacho's path. Right? So now after that flash is done, I can what? Just send it back to the nacho controller. So now I can see if that flash is coming through. Cool. Let's get rid of this by bug. Cool. Added trash can nachos to the cart. On refresh, gone. So far, so good. Yo, is anyone else really hot? Yo, I'm like really warm. Okay. Oof, no. It's intense in here. Like Nelly, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, what can we do with this information?
Display everything in the cart. Display
Yeah.
the cart.
Sure. Let's use hands, because I feel like, it would like allow participation for everyone else. No, you're totally good. Totally good. All right, yeah. Yes. Right now, is this the most effective way? Because every single time I'm just overriding the session ID. Is that like a good way to do session? If I just like override it? Because remember, this is just an assignment operator. So will the last nacho still exist? No, it's just going to be like, hey, now you're nacho 7. Oh, just kidding, now you're nacho 3. It just overwrites it. So I probably want some sort of like push. Yeah? All right, let's think about this real quick. All right, before we get there. My cart. When I add this like nacho ID to my cart, in the future, in terms of scaling, all right, let's just say Flavortown decided to also sell hamburgers. So now I've got a hamburger controller, right? I've also got like hamburger views, hamburger model. And I want to add hamburgers and nachos to this controller. Or rather, I want to add hamburgers and nachos to my cart. That's what I should say, right? Is there a place that all the controllers potentially could be getting their information from? Like if they would just absorb some sort of knowledge in some form of magical inheritance, that I could put my cart logic, my shopping cart logic, in somewhere that all of my controllers will inherit from.
Like something that it'll be able to call methods that are built out.
Mm-hmm. Where can I go? Wow. What a great smart class. So now I'm in the application controller. Again, here's the logic. If I have more than one controller, my cart needs to persist throughout all the controllers, right? I need to be able to add a nacho, add a hot dog, add a burger. I'm very hungry, right? To this cart. That's why I want to put the application controller, because every single controller will inherit from application controller, right? So I've started this off for you. In here, I need a method. It's just called cart, right? Then I need a method to add a nacho to this cart or whatever it is, right? Doesn't matter what it is, right? For now, we'll just stick with nachos since it's like the thing we're working with. And then after I've done that, I need to be able to send all of these nachos back to the view so the cart can see them. Any questions on these three steps and like kind of where I derive that information from?
I'm not really clear why you went from cart controller to application controller. Like, what's the need for making that step?
Sure. So this cart's controller, right? We've determined that this is not really a good practice, right? Because it's kind of like overriding it, even if I were to push onto it, right? This cart's controller, I need this cart's controller to take in information from other controllers as well, like nacho controller, hamburger controller, hot dog controller. I need to be able to push information to the cart.
Aren't you, I mean, you're just clicking a button on the main page and it's posting some params to this from the page, right? Where's this redirection from other controllers?
That's a good question, right? So look, let's start scaling this out, right? I have a hot dog controller and I want to add it to my cart. Where should my cart live? In cart controller. That makes sense right now, right? Do I want to be able to add something to my cart from anywhere? Right. So I want the same method that all of my controllers can do, right? So at some point in my nachos controller, I want to be able to do something like, I don't know, add nacho to cart. And it's going to take in like a nacho ID or something like that. Where is this method coming from? Right. So it doesn't have to be nacho, right? You can start extracting it, like add item to cart, right? And this could just be item ID. Do I want this logic inside my cart controller? If I put it inside my cart controller, right, the burger controller is not going to have access to it. No other controller will have access to it. So I need to put this logic in the application controller so that all of them can just call this method. Whatever controller you're in, you can be like, hey, add item to the controller, add item to this cart. So I want to put that logic inside the application controller. Does that clarify it a little bit?
I mean, we're persisting this information with the session hash, right? So isn't that taking what the cart controller needs to know and giving it to it already?
Sure. So here's what we can do, right? So add item to cart is probably going to do, right, session with what? A nacho IDs. And you're just going to shovel on some, well, like at nacho, maybe not in the show. I mean, maybe not in the index, right? In show, I'm going to do like some sort of shopping cart, right? I'm gonna call a method called, I don't wanna do that yet. Sorry, this is what you're saying, right? Session with the key of cart, something like that, or nacho IDs. And I'm gonna shovel on at nacho.id, all right? I'm also gonna have to create this exact same logic inside every single controller. Wouldn't it make sense to just write it once in a parent and have them all inherit the same method? And that's why. So there's nothing wrong with this. It's just I'm trying to like get you to think next level. Cool? Did I confuse anyone, or was that a little bit more clarifying? Thumbs up if it was like a little bit more clarifying. Thumbs down if it was like a little confusing. Cool. Thank you. So now that we've established that, I need a method for a cart, right? So def cart. Cool. Cool. Just kidding. And what should this do? Maybe, right? Return session cart. So let's like use hands next time, right? Like raise your hand next time, right? That's cool. What should it do? Remember, when I did session with the key of dolphin, what did I get back? Nil, right? So I can have a session with the key of cart, right? And I want it to be an array. The problem is, in the same way as before, I'm always gonna override it as like this empty array, which kind of stinks. So it should probably be like, if the session cart exists, then return session cart. Else, session cart is equal to what? An empty array. All right, this return was just like a little too explicit. I can just do this. If the session cart exists, just give me the session cart. If it doesn't exist, make an empty array. Does that make sense? Like I'm just trying to establish this array because what doesn't make sense is having it just be one number, right? Like I did before in this. I'm sorry, in this, right? Like when I did this, it doesn't make sense. I should be shoveling. So if I'm shoveling, this session should be some sort of array object, right? So, you guys ready for a refactor? Cool. Session, cart, right? If else sounds like what? Right? If the session cart exists, right? Assign it to be an array. Or make it an array. So all this right here is a refactor. This is known as caching, right? This will do the session cart. If it exists, it just returns it. Otherwise, else, or assign it to an array, an empty array. So whenever I call cart, if session with the key of cart exists, it's just going to return it to me. Otherwise, it's going to return me an empty array. Everyone follow that?
So you don't have to double bang it.
No. Why would I double bang it?
So it's just good. It just knows it's true.
Do I want a Boolean or do I want the array?
Just want the array.
So if I double bang it, what would I get?
So if the array exists,
If the array exists, return the session cart or an empty array. Cool. Hey, this is what we're gonna do. We're just gonna take like a 2-minute break, right? Just a stretch. Go get some water, and then come back. Go. Totally up to you, man. Up to you. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Right, so we're back now. The thing we learned, right, was about caching and this cart. Let's finish the rest of these two methods, all right, and then we'll see it get all pieced together. Why everything's doing what it's doing. So again, I need a method for a cart so I can have access to this session with a key of cart, which is essentially going to be an array that's going to store all of my nacho IDs, I think, right? So that I can then like do nacho.find maybe later. So how do I make a method that simply adds nacho to cart. What would this be? What would this do? Should I do session cart? I already have a method that returns to me the session cart. So, in the same way for mod 1, I've built this helper. I can take this cart and I can shovel on something. Oop, cart. All right, I can shovel on something. What should I shovel on? All right, I can pass in like a nacho ID to this method. When I call it, I can give it a nacho ID, and then all it's gonna do is take that nacho ID and it's just gonna push it right into my array. Yeah.
Do we want it to be like nacho specific? Like what if we have like burger and hot dog, etc.?
For right now, I'm just gonna use nacho since we only have one controller. The reason I wanted to abstract into like hot dog and hamburger is so I could tell you where and why it should go up. For now, I just want you to understand what's happening, but you could easily rename this to like item, generic item. Nacho is just more fun to say too. Cool? Good point.
Do we not need to do self that part?
Would it make a difference?
No.
Okay, so it's better that you like came to that conclusion though, right? Good job. So what does this do? I need to be able to get the nachos with the cart, pass it to my controller so I can send it to the view. How do I send things to the view? Right? Very good. What do I want to call this thing? I could call it like nacho cart, but let's just call it cart items. Since, you know, you wanted to go like abstract, right? Like these are just my cart items. And what are they exactly? They're like nacho objects, right? Dot find. And what do I want to find in here? I want to find something, right? Like nacho. If I give it like a nacho ID, I want it to be able to find it. Does that make sense? So now, instead of like the string or the number, I have the object, because that's what I really want, right? Let me show you something cool. I have 7 nachos in here, right? I can probably do nacho.find, right? And get what? I'm gonna get trash can nachos, you know what I'm saying? I could probably also do, wait, can I do that? I could pass it an array of IDs, and it will return all of them. So, where do I have an array of nacho IDs? Where would I have an array of nacho IDs? So, probably want to pass in an array of nacho IDs. Cool? So, where would I want to call this method add nacho to cart? Where am I actually adding this nacho? Right? So, add nacho to cart. And I pass in, what was that again? I'm sorry. All right. I pass in a nacho ID or an item ID. Doesn't really matter. Here, add nacho to cart. I seem to remember I have a params of nacho name. Do I have the params of nacho ID? Here? I do, because this is the button, remember? This is the button, and here's where it gets a little tricky. And I send over what 2 things? ID and name, right? In my add to cart, which hits the nacho cart path, which is going to hit this update. So when I click it, it hits the update. I want to add what? Params of nacho ID to my cart. That's what it's doing. Right? So when I click the button, it does exactly what I said I wanted it to do. When I click it, it adds it to some sort of cart, which is like a session with a key of cart, which is just an array. So once I do that, I redirect to the nachos path. That nachos path, what controller action is that? What controller action would that be? Controller action would that be? Yeah, you're killing me here. Come on, guys, you're killing me. I'm hurting. All right. So here, now I want to be able to, right? Let's see. I want to be able to get these cart items, this instance variable, all the way over here. This is the application controller. This inherits from application controller. Can I call this method showCart? Okay, and showCart's going to give me what again? Add cart items. That must mean that in my cart, I probably have, I don't know, add cart items. One more time. showCart gives me an instance variable that finds all the nachos inside my cart. I'm calling it here, because remember, application controller is passing the showCart method into the nachos controller by way of inheritance. I can call showCart. showCart returns an instance variable in index. This is my index file I have access to at cart items. So this is what kind of data structure? A hash, an integer, an array. An array? Are you sure? Who thinks array? Okay. Nacho.find, right, returns to me an array-like object. Right? See the square brackets? When I did nacho.find with an array, it returns to me a collection, some sort of array. So here, I can do a little bit of a, no, get out of here. I got this, son. All right, dot each do. Probably don't want this. And what are these cart items right now? Just sure, item, whatever. And in here, I want what? What is item here? It's a nacho. Here. Nacho has a name. This looks like HTML or Ruby or what? For the first time, it's a package, Rails snippets, and it's just Command Shift period. If you don't have it, you can just do equal tab, and it'll do it. Cool. Yeah. First time you're hearing it? First time. All right. Cool. So what should I see here? Yeah. Anyone else? What do you think?
List, like an order list, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. Just kidding. You'll see nothing. Cool. Oh, snap. Sorry. No, the ordered list item. I think I need this thing outside here. Right? Because it's creating a new list. CSS is a pain. Yeah, I think that's the one. God, what is it? Oh yeah, and the end on the inside. Yes. Hey, cool. That's weird. Can I add multiple? No. Becomes a new problem, right? Which we'll figure out on how to handle later. So the thing about sessions and cookies is I can always just take a look at them. So in my application, something called cookies, localhost 3000. What do I see here? All right, these are the other projects that I built. Halloween, hot dogs, cool. All right. These look like what? Just key value pairs. All right. Would this be the same for my Rails? In my cookies, apidoc.com. So cookies are unique to each domain, right? And in them, I have hashified, right, some data, right? So it's encrypted so nobody can't just read out of it, and so that creates a little bit more security. Cool? Because otherwise, like in this session, like I could probably try to pull out, right? I just like look through it and be like, hey, where's my Nacho ID? Where's that user ID? Where's that username? Where's that password? But that's not a good like security practice, right? So I should somehow encrypt these cookies to be something that's just not really readable to human beings. And so Rails will do that for you out of the box, right? Did you see that session hash and like how ridiculous it was? How much information is in there? But then they encrypt it into, right? Let's go back to this. Let's go back to this. And we talked a little bit about this, right? Consists of a hash, right? 32 character string. And that's encrypting all that data that gets sent through. Back and forth. Any questions on sessions, cookies, hash, persisting data, making HTTP requests more stateful, creating like a cart for Nacho Town, maybe potentially doing some sort of like login user information with like a user.findby and pushing into your session like user ID. You know what I'm saying? Cool. All right. That's all I got for you right now.